God says, don't throw away your old clothes. At first glance, this might sound like a simple directive about garments, about fabric and stitches, about what we wear and how long we wear it. But dig deeper. This isn't about your wardrobe. This is about your life, about value, about remembering, about honoring the journey you've been through. Old clothes have seen your tears and held your laughter. They've walked with you through sunshine and storms, through celebrations and heartache. Every faded thread, every worn-out elbow or frayed collar tells a story of endurance, a story of growth, a story that cannot be bought off a shelf or recreated in a factory. God is reminding us not to discard things or people just because they've aged or lost their original shine. In our world today, we're taught to chase the new, the trendy, the unblemished. We're conditioned to replace rather than repair, to abandon rather than appreciate. But what if we slowed down and saw the beauty in what's already ours? What if we realized that some things get better with time, not worse? Imagine that one tattered hoodie you wore in college, the one that kept you warm on cold nights when your heart was broken, when you sat under streetlights wondering what your future held. You could have thrown it away. It's full of holes now. But something told you to keep it. Not because it's fashionable, but because it knows your journey. It knows who you used to be, and it's seen who you're becoming. God isn't just talking about physical clothes. He's talking about the people, the parts of you, the memories, the values, the beliefs that have aged with time. Some people will tell you to throw away the past, to start fresh, to forget what was. But God says, don't. Because your past, however messy or broken it might be, is your testimony. Your old clothes carry the fragrance of resilience. When you look back at your life, you'll see that the most meaningful things were never perfect. That friend who stood by you during your darkest nights, they've made mistakes. They're not perfect, but they're part of your journey. Don't throw them away just because time has changed your paths. That dream you had years ago that didn't quite unfold the way you hoped, it may look like an old garment now, tucked away in a drawer, but maybe it's not time to discard it. Maybe it's time to revisit it, to mend it, to wear it with pride. There is beauty in things that have survived, beauty in things that have endured time, trials, and transformation. Old clothes remind us that being worn is not the same as being worthless. A scar does not mean a wound. It means healing has occurred. Similarly, a faded piece of clothing is proof of use, of movement, of life. In a world obsessed with appearances, God invites us to look deeper. That old coat your father wore, the one you now keep in your closet, maybe it doesn't fit anymore. Maybe it's out of style, but it holds his scent. It holds his strength. It holds his lessons. It's more than a coat. It's legacy. When God says don't throw it away, he's reminding you to hold on to the parts of your life that matter, even when they no longer sparkle. Especially when they no longer sparkle. Think about relationships. So many of us are quick to walk away when things get tough, when time reveals imperfections. But maybe that person who's been in your life for years is like those old clothes, worn but loyal. Not shiny but true. You've grown together. You've weathered things, you know each other's flaws, and love each other anyway. That's rare. That's sacred. Don't throw it away. Or consider your fate. Maybe you once believed fiercely. Maybe now you're tired, uncertain, questioning. You feel like your faith is like an old shirt, stretched thin, color fading. But God says, don't throw it away. Faith isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's not about never doubting. It's about showing up even when you do. Dust off that faith. Wear it again. Even if it feels a bit tight or outdated, you'll be surprised how well it still fits your soul. The old clothes God tells you to keep could be your values. In a world where compromise is often rewarded, maybe you're tempted to discard your integrity, your kindness, your patience, your humility. They seem old-fashioned, but they are precisely what make you who you are. Don't replace them with shiny substitutes. They have lasted for a reason. Our elders, Our grandparents, our aging parents, they too are old clothes in the best sense. Not modern, maybe slower, maybe frail, but oh, the stories they carry, the wisdom, the love. Don't cast them aside. Learn from them. Sit with them. Hear their tales. They are walking libraries, living testimonies of survival, courage, and love. Old clothes also remind us that we've come far. When you look at them, you see what you've survived. You see the miles you've walked, the nights you didn't give up, the seasons that nearly broke you, but didn't. You see how much stronger you are now. Sometimes you need those reminders. Sometimes we all do. In our pursuit of tomorrow, we forget how far we've come. You don't need to wear your old clothes every day. Some of them are meant to stay folded on a shelf, a reminder rather than a necessity. But keeping them is a declaration. I honor my journey. I honor who I was. I am proud of my progress. I see value where others might not. And here's the miracle. Sometimes old clothes become new again. That vintage jacket, that traditional dress from your heritage, they come back in style. They find relevance in new times. So too, your experiences, your memories, your values, they can find fresh meaning in the future. Don't be so quick to toss them away. You might be sitting there feeling like you are the old clothes, like life has worn you thin, like people have outgrown you, like you're no longer needed or relevant. But let me tell you this, God doesn't throw away his people. He doesn't discard you when you're frayed or weary. He holds you closer. He wraps you around his heart. You're not forgotten. You're loved deeply, endlessly, no matter how much time has passed. There's a sacred Japanese art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired using gold. They don't try to hide the cracks, they highlight them, because the scars are what make the object beautiful. That's what old clothes teach us. That's what God teaches us. Our cracks are not curses. They are evidence that we've lived, that we've overcome, that we've endured. So, wear your old clothes with pride, not just the fabric, but the life they represent. The people who've shaped you, the moments that grew you, the faith that carried you, the love that sustained you. They may not look perfect. This message is more than metaphor. It's a mindset, a way of being in the world. When we learn not to throw away our old clothes, we start seeing value everywhere. In places we used to overlook, we start listening more deeply. We slow down. We become more grateful, more present, more kind. What if the healing you're praying for isn't in something new, but in something old you've neglected? A conversation you never finished. A person you pushed away, a passion you buried. God is whispering, go back, look again. Don't throw it away just yet. Old clothes are also a symbol of continuity. You don't become someone new by rejecting who you were. You evolve by embracing every part of your journey, the good, the bad, the awkward, the glorious. Keep the pieces of your life that shaped you, even if they no longer fit. They are part of your identity. And in this keeping, this honoring, we learn to love others better too. We stop expecting perfection. We start celebrating presence. We start seeing beauty in the worn, the wrinkled, the tried, and the true. That's the heart of compassion. That's the soul of grace. Let's be a people who cherish what lasts, who choose depth over shine, who remember that new doesn't always mean better, and old doesn't mean obsolete. Let's hold on to the stories, the songs, the sacred garments of our lives. Let's keep the coat of kindness, the robe of humility, the shoes of service. Even when they're worn, they are worthy. So when you go home today, open your closet. Find that one piece of clothing you haven't touched in years. Feel it. Remember who you were when you wore it, what you were facing, what you overcame. God says, don't throw away your old clothes because they still have purpose, because you still have purpose. because what's worn can still be wonderful, because what's faded can still be faithful, because what's old can still be holy. Hold on, mend what matters, remember what's true, and walk forward, wrapped in grace. In a world that constantly urges us to chase after the new and the flawless, it can be difficult to recognize the profound value that lies in what is worn and weathered. When we think about old clothes, our first instinct might be to discard them, toss them aside because they no longer look fresh, no longer have the crispness of something brand new. But there is an extraordinary richness in the worn fabric, the faded colors, and the softened seam. These are not signs of weakness or uselessness. Rather, they are proof of life lived fully, proof that these items have served a purpose, that they have journeyed alongside us through the twists and turns of existence. Each worn-out piece carries with it stories of endurance. Think of the faded jeans you wore during moments of growth, when you faced challenges that stretched you beyond your comfort zone. Those jeans, perhaps now frayed at the knees or faded with age, didn't simply wear out. They witnessed your struggles and your victories. They absorbed the sweat of hard work, the stains of unexpected mishaps, and the dust of the road you traveled. In those jeans, there is a silent testimony that you showed up, that you didn't give up. The worn places tell us you moved forward even when the journey was hard. That's value. That's worth holding on to. Worn and weathered things remind us of something crucial. Beauty and worth are not only found in perfection. In fact, perfection can be shallow and fleeting, easily broken or replaced, but something that has been tested by time. And this truth applies not only to clothes, but to people, to relationships, and to our inner selves. When we recognize the value in the worn and weathered, we start to see life differently. We stop idolizing the flawless and begin appreciating authenticity. We learn that scars and wrinkles are not flaws to be hidden, but stories to be cherished. Just as an old jacket with faded patches might feel uncomfortable to some, it feels comforting to those who know its history. It carries warmth not just physically, but emotionally, because it has been with us during meaningful moments. This is why God says, don't throw away your old clothes, because in that worn fabric lies something precious, a reminder that your journey matters. Old clothes also teach us about humility and gratitude. They remind us that not everything valuable needs to be brand new. Sometimes the best things are those that have been used, repaired, and loved over time. This invites us to slow down and appreciate what we already have, instead of constantly longing for what's next. It encourages us to honor the past, even the imperfect past, because it is part of the foundation of who we are today. Moreover, the worn and weathered challenge our culture's obsession with consumption and waste. In a society where things are often seen as disposable, holding on to old clothes is a small but powerful act of resistance. It's a statement that we value longevity, that we respect the resources and memories woven into each stitch, that we care about sustainability, not only in the environment, but in our lives. When we cherish what has aged, we practice stewardship over our belongings and ourselves. And this principle extends to our inner selves as well. Just as old clothes show signs of wear but are still treasured, so should we treasure the parts of ourselves that have been stretched thin by life's trials. The wounds we carry, the doubts we've wrestled with, the mistakes we've made, these are not reasons to discard ourselves. They are reminders that we have lived, that we have loved, and that we have grown. God sees that value in us, in our worn edges and faded places. He invites us to embrace ourselves fully, with kindness and acceptance. So, when you look at an old shirt or a worn-out pair of shoes, don't see them as useless or ugly. See them as witnesses to your journey, as symbols of strength and resilience. They carry the beauty of experience and the power of survival. That's the true value in the worn and weathered, and it's a value that, once recognized, can transform how you see yourself, your life, and the world around you. God's message is clear. Don't throw away your old clothes. because within their fabric lies a story worth honoring, and within your own worn places lies a story of unbreakable worth. Honoring the past and personal journey means recognizing that every step you've taken, every experience you've lived through, has shaped who you are today. It's easy to look at the past with regret, wishing you had made different choices or hoping to erase painful memories. But God's call to not throw away your old clothes is a powerful reminder that your past, no matter how messy or imperfect, is sacred. It is the foundation upon which your present stands, and the soil from which your future will grow. When you honor your past, you acknowledge the value of your experiences, both the joyful and the challenging. Those old clothes, faded, torn, or stretched, are metaphors for the moments you've lived through. They carry memories of who you were then and who you've become. Just as you wouldn't discard a piece of clothing that tells a story, you shouldn't discard parts of your past, because those parts contain lessons, growth, and evidence of resilience. Your personal journey is not a straight path, nor is it always smooth. There have been detours, setbacks, and unexpected turns. You may have faced disappointments, heartbreaks, or failures. But these moments, like worn patches on a beloved garment, don't diminish your worth. Instead, they add character and depth. They remind you that you survived, that you kept going, and that you are stronger because of it. To honor your journey means to accept your story without shame or denial. It means forgiving yourself for mistakes and embracing your growth. It means recognizing that every season in your life, even the difficult ones, contributed to your strength and wisdom. Your past is not something to hide away or be embarrassed about. It's a testament to your courage and endurance. This honoring also extends to the people who have been part of your journey. Family, friends, mentors, and even those who hurt you. Each has played a role in shaping your story. Just as you might keep a cherished jacket that belonged to a loved one, keeping these relationships in your heart, even if they've changed over time, honors your shared history. It's about gratitude for the connection, the lessons learned, and the ways they helped you grow. Honoring your past does not mean you are stuck in it. It means you carry it with you as a source of strength and identity. Like an old coat that may no longer fit perfectly, but still offers warmth. Your past experiences provide comfort and context. They remind you that you are not starting from scratch every day. You are building on everything you have lived through. When you honor your journey, you also open the door to healing. Sometimes we hold on to pain because we have not truly acknowledged it. But by respecting your past, by giving it the attention it deserves, you can begin to heal old wounds. You can take the faded threads of hurt and fear and begin to weave them into a new fabric of hope and purpose. God's message, not to throw away your old clothes, is an invitation to value your life story. It encourages you to keep your memories, your lessons, and your experiences close, because they are part of God's work in you. They are not accidents or failures. They are part of a divine process, shaping you into who you are meant to be. Honoring your past also brings gratitude. When you look back and appreciate the journey, you develop a deeper thankfulness for your growth and for the people who have walked beside you. Gratitude transforms how you view your story, from a burden to a blessing. It shifts your focus from what you wish had been different to what you have gained through living fully. This perspective helps you move forward with confidence. You are not defined by past mistakes or losses, but by your ability to learn and grow from them. Your personal journey, with all its worn edges and faded spots, is a tapestry of strength, faith, and perseverance. It is uniquely yours and worthy of honor. So, as you reflect on your life, don't rush to discard the old parts of your story. Don't be quick to throw away the memories, the lessons, or the relationships that have shaped you. Instead, embrace them. God says, don't throw away your old clothes. In this, he invites you to honor your past, treasure your journey, and walk forward with a heart full of gratitude and hope. Your story matters, every worn thread of it. Relationships, much like old clothes, gain their true value over time. They don't always start out perfect, shiny, or easy. Instead, they often begin messy, complicated, and full of learning curves. But as time passes, as challenges come and go, relationships are tested and shaped. God's message, not to throw away your old clothes, invites us to see relationships in the same way, to appreciate the loyalty, the history, and the resilience that develop only with time. When you first meet someone, the relationship is fresh, new, full of promise. It's like buying a brand new jacket, crisp, clean, without a single tear. But as the seasons change, life happens. Maybe there are disagreements, misunderstandings, or even moments when it feels easier to walk away. Yet those who choose to stay through these moments are like the sturdy old coat that may have lost its initial gloss, but gained something far more precious: loyalty. Loyalty is the invisible thread that weaves relationships together, especially through difficult seasons. It's a decision to stay committed when things aren't easy, to keep showing up even when the spark has dimmed, and to value the connection beyond the surface. Loyalty is often misunderstood as blind devotion, but true loyalty is grounded in understanding, forgiveness, and deep respect. Relationships that endure over time carry a richness that new connections simply can't replicate. They hold shared memories, inside jokes, and a deep knowledge of each other's stories, struggles, and dreams. This depth creates a foundation of trust and safety that can't be rushed or replaced. It's the difference between something disposable and something timeless. Like an old sweater that fits just right after many wears, long-term relationships shape themselves to the contours of your life. They accommodate changes, adapt to growth, and provide warmth during cold seasons. They may have their patches, moments of hurt or disappointment, but those patches are reminders of how much the relationship has survived, not of its failure. In a culture that often celebrates the new and easy, choosing loyalty in relationships is a radical act. It means resisting the urge to discard connections when they become challenging or inconvenient. It means seeing beyond flaws and focusing on the person beneath the surface. It means valuing presence over perfection. God's call, not to throw away your old clothes, can be seen as an encouragement to hold on to these relationships, to invest in them, to mend them when needed, and to appreciate the history and growth they represent. Just as old clothes carry the imprint of your life's journey, long-standing relationships carry the marks of shared experience and mutual care. Sometimes we may feel tempted to walk away from people who have disappointed us, or who no longer seem to fit into the current season of our lives. But God's message reminds us that loyalty and endurance are often what bring healing and transformation. When you commit to standing by someone through their struggles, you become part of a story larger than the moment. You become a witness to growth, a source of encouragement, and a keeper of memory. Honoring relationships over time also teaches us patience and grace. Just as old clothes require careful mending and gentle handling, relationships need kindness, understanding, and forgiveness. It's not always easy, but the reward is worth the effort, lasting bonds that enrich your life deeply. Loyalty is a reflection of God's own faithfulness. Just as God remains steadfast and unchanging, loving us through all our seasons, we are called to emulate that kind of loyalty in our relationships. In your own life, consider the relationships that have stood the test of time. Think about those who have remained by your side when things were tough. These are your treasures. People who, like your old clothes, may not be flashy or perfect, but are deeply valuable because they have endured. Don't be quick to throw away relationships simply because they don't meet new expectations or because change has made things awkward or difficult. Instead, God says, don't throw away your old clothes. In that message lies an invitation to honor relationships and loyalty, recognizing that, just like treasured garments, enduring connections become more meaningful with time. They wrap us in warmth, remind us of where we've been. Faith, dreams, and core values are like the old clothes God urges us not to throw away. They may sometimes feel worn, faded, or out of style, but they are foundational pieces of who we are. Over time, life's challenges, distractions, and disappointments can cause us to set aside these vital parts of ourselves. Yet, just as old clothes can be mended and worn again, so too can our faith, dreams, and values be revisited, restored, and renewed. Faith is often the first thing that feels fragile when life grows complicated. When we're young, faith might be bright and unshakable, like a brand new jacket full of promise. But as years pass and struggles arise, loss, doubt, unanswered prayers, that jacket can seem tattered and worn. You may feel like your faith no longer fits you, that it's stretched thin or faded beyond repair. But God's message not to throw away your old clothes reminds you that faith is not a one-time gift to be discarded when it falters. It is a journey, a lifelong companion that may need time, patience, and gentle care to flourish again. Revisiting your faith means acknowledging where it has weakened or changed without judgment or shame. It means returning to the basics, prayer, reflection, community, and allowing yourself the grace to ask hard questions. Faith doesn't demand perfection. It thrives in honesty and persistence. Like a favorite worn sweater, faith may not look perfect, but it offers comfort and strength. When you revisit it, you allow yourself to reconnect with the deep roots that have sustained you before and can do so again. Dreams, too, are often shelved or forgotten as life's responsibilities mount. The dreams you had as a child or young adult, full of hope and endless possibility, can feel like outdated clothing you no longer want to wear. Maybe they didn't unfold as planned, or you had to set them aside for practical reasons. But dreams are not just frivolous fantasies. They are reflections of your soul's desires, your unique purpose waiting to be awakened. Revisiting your dreams means looking beyond disappointment and asking, what still calls to me? What passion still burns quietly inside? Sometimes dreams need to be reshaped, altered to fit who you are now. That's okay. Just because a dream looks different today doesn't mean it's any less important. Just like old clothes can be tailored or repaired to fit better, your dreams can be renewed and adapted to your present life. Don't throw them away. Instead, dust them off and wear them proudly once more. Core values, the principles and beliefs that guide your decisions, can also become neglected or challenged over time. In a fast-paced world full of shifting opinions and pressures to conform, it's tempting to abandon values that once seemed essential. But these values are like the sturdy fabric of a trusted coat. They hold you together, protect you from harm, and give shape to your character. Revisiting your core values means taking time to reflect on what truly matters to you. It may require courage to stand firm in those values, especially if they feel out of step with the culture around you. But holding on to them with integrity is a powerful act of faithfulness to yourself and to God. These values, even if old-fashioned or unfashionable, are part of your identity. They give you direction and meaning in a confusing world. God's call not to throw away your old clothes encourages you to treat your faith, dreams, and core values with the same respect and care you would give to a beloved but worn garment. Instead of discarding what seems old or out of date, you're invited to mend, revisit, and reclaim these vital parts of your spirit. This process is not always easy. It may require humility to admit what you've set aside, courage to face doubts, and patience as you nurture growth. But the reward is profound, a renewed sense of purpose, peace, and direction. When you revisit your faith, dreams, and values, you rediscover that they are not relics of the past, but living, breathing parts of who you are. They carry the potential to inspire your future and guide your steps. Just as an old coat may still protect you against the cold, these inner treasures will shelter your heart and fuel your hope. So don't be quick to throw away what seems worn or faded within you. Instead, embrace the opportunity to revisit and renew. Allow God to work through these familiar pieces of your soul, transforming them with new life and meaning. Your faith, your dreams, and your values are not just old clothes. They are sacred gifts that can accompany you faithfully through every season of your life. Legacy and generational wisdom are treasures often overlooked in our fast-paced world, yet they are among the most valuable inheritances we receive and can pass on. Like old clothes that have been carefully preserved and passed down, legacy and wisdom from previous generations are not meant to be discarded, but honored and embraced. They carry the stories, lessons, and values of those who came before us, grounding us in a deeper understanding of who we are and where we come from. When we think about legacy, we often imagine grand achievements or material wealth. But legacy is much more than that. It is the collection of attitudes, beliefs, traditions, and lessons passed down through families and communities. It's the quiet, persistent thread that links past, present, and future. Just as old clothes might carry the scent, texture, and imprint of those who wore them before, legacy carries the imprint of ancestors, their struggles, sacrifices, hopes, and love. Generational wisdom is the distilled knowledge gained from life's experiences over many years. It's the understanding that comes from surviving hardship, making mistakes, and learning important truths. This wisdom often comes through stories, advice, and values shared by elders. Sometimes it's woven into rituals, customs, or simple ways of living that have stood the test of time. When we honor this wisdom, we acknowledge that it has worth beyond what we can immediately see. It has the power to guide us through life's complexities. Too often, in our desire for progress and innovation, we may feel tempted to discard what is old, assuming that new ideas or ways are always better. But wisdom teaches us that not all new things are improvements, and not all old things are outdated. Honoring legacy and generational wisdom means listening attentively to the voices of those who have come before us. It means asking questions about our family history, cultural traditions, and spiritual roots. It means valuing the experiences of elders and recognizing the sacrifices they made that paved the way for us. Like holding on to a well-worn coat that carries warmth and history, embracing legacy connects us to a larger story, one that gives our own life context and significance. Moreover, embracing generational wisdom helps us avoid repeating mistakes and encourages us to build on successes. The lessons learned by others are like guidance, sewn into the seams of that old garment, preventing us from tearing it unnecessarily or discarding it in haste. By respecting these lessons, we position ourselves to live more thoughtfully, make wiser decisions, and pass on something valuable to those who will follow. Legacy is not only about what we inherit, but also about what we choose to leave behind. Each of us is part of an ongoing story, and how we live impacts the generations yet to come. Just as we cherish old clothes that have been lovingly cared for, we are called to nurture the values and lessons we want to pass forward. This is a sacred responsibility. It reminds us that our actions today will echo beyond our lifetime, influencing families, communities, and even society. God's message not to throw away your old clothes resonates deeply here. The old clothes are the wisdom, traditions, and values that may seem outdated or irrelevant at times, but hold eternal significance. They remind us to respect our roots, honor the journey of those before us, and recognize that our lives are part of a greater tapestry. In honoring legacy and generational wisdom, we also cultivate gratitude and humility. We understand that we stand on the shoulders of giants, those who endured trials and triumphs before us. This awareness humbles us and inspires us to live with integrity and purpose, so we too may leave a meaningful legacy. So cherish the old stories, the handed-down values, and the lessons learned through generations. Don't throw away these old clothes of legacy and wisdom. Instead, wear them with pride, allowing them to shape your identity and guide your path. In doing so, you not only honor your past, but also enrich your future and the future of all who come after you. In a world that often seems to value people based on their productivity, appearance, or usefulness, it can be easy to feel disposable, like you can be tossed aside when you're no longer new or useful. But God's message not to throw away your old clothes, just like those old clothes that have served a purpose, been through many seasons, and still hold value, you too are precious, valued, and loved, regardless of your current condition or stage in life. It's natural to feel worn down by life's challenges, to carry the weight of mistakes, disappointments, or physical and emotional scars. You may feel outdated, tired, or even broken. Society may send messages that your worth is tied only to your achievements or appearance, leaving you vulnerable to feelings of insignificance. But the truth, deeply rooted in God's love, is that your value is inherent and unchanging. You are not disposable. Because your life carries unique meaning, no one else can fill your exact place or tell your exact story. Your experiences, struggles, and growth make you who you are, a person worthy of respect and care. Just as an old coat might look worn on the outside, but still provides warmth and comfort, your essence and worth. This perspective encourages you to reject the false narrative that you need to be perfect or constantly renewed to have worth. God does not discard people when they become less than perfect or when life wears them down. Instead, he sees beyond the surface wear and tear. He sees the heart, the spirit, and the potential that remains within. Your value is not dependent on how shiny or new you appear, but on the unique creation and purpose God has placed within you. Feeling disposable can lead to isolation, shame, and despair, but recognizing your irreplaceable value can bring healing and hope. It invites you to treat yourself with the same kindness and respect you would give to a treasured but worn item. You deserve patience, care, and grace, not rejection or neglect. This message also calls us to extend the same compassion to others. Just as we are not disposable, neither are the people around us. Everyone we encounter has intrinsic worth, regardless of their struggles, mistakes, or outward appearance. When we honor the value in ourselves, we are better able to honor it in others, fostering relationships grounded in empathy and respect. Remember that God's love is steadfast. He does not give up on you or consider you expendable. Like a skilled tailor who repairs and restores a cherished garment, God is constantly working to heal, renew, and restore your life. He calls you to embrace your worth, to hold on to hope, and to trust that your story is far from over. So, when you feel worn out or forgotten, when the world seems to move on without you, hear this truth. You are not disposable. You are treasured, valued, and deeply loved. Your life is meaningful, and your presence matters. Embrace who you are, the worn edges, the faded parts, and all. They are part of your journey and testimony. You are irreplaceable, and your worth is eternal. God says, don't throw away your old clothes, and that means don't throw away yourself. You matter. You are loved. You are here for a reason, and your life is a gift that the world needs.